So what's interesting is that peer review activity is actually taking place in our society and communities all the time. In democracy, peer review is used in things like voting systems. So when we do voting, that's a form of peer review. A jury panel in a court is a form of peer review. When you book your holidays, you check out reviews from your peers to make decisions. When you buy something off Amazon, the first thing you look at, for example, are the reviews from your peers. So in scientific research, peer review is the idea that your peers evaluate and comment on your work and hopefully provide some constructive criticism. These peers are carefully curated by the journal's editorial board. These are experts who are qualified to judge your work, and it allows us to essentially crowdsource knowledge. It gives the authors an opportunity to see their blind spots and identify errors and areas of improvement so they can make their work better. A rigorous peer review should ensure that if the authors claim that their work is novel, then it really is. It should also ensure that there are no over exaggerated claims made in the paper. Make sure there are no inaccurate conclusions or errors in methodology. It should also ensure that the paper is relatively free from bias and ensuring that the authors have declared conflicts of interests, etc. So overall, peer review is a quality control filter that provides a higher degree of scrutiny. For authors, it helps to improve the overall quality of their manuscript, which in turn will be beneficial for the society. If more people are looking at your work and looking at your experiment, it would give us better knowledge. It's essentially a check and balance mechanism on bad knowledge going forward, and also perhaps a medium of accountability. Peer review, I believe, is the true democracy in science. Now, how peer review works? So, peer review is a highly structured professional activity. You submit your work to a journal. It is received by the handling editor, also sometimes called the managing editor, who looks at the paper and then determine whether it is suitable for the journal. We once received a manuscript on some radio transistor waves in Arctic expedition, and that was clearly not a suitable manuscript for our journal. There was no mention of blockchain or distributed ledger technologies anywhere. So clearly a wrong journal, and it was desk rejected. Now, if the paper is deemed suitable for the journal, then the handling editor invites 2 to 3 reviewers based on their expertise and suitability. And after the review, there are 3 possible outcomes: accept, reject, or revision. We very rarely have 3 clear accept or 3 clear rejects. It's usually a mix of 1 reject and 2 revise and submit, something like that. So now remember, the whole idea is to improve the quality of the manuscript. So reviewers might say you need to, for example, substantiate some claims that you have made in the paper. So the revision work for you as an author varies. It could be minimal, it could be moderate, or it could be extensive, depending upon the deficiencies identified in the original work. Now, obviously, there are some limitations of peer review. While peer review does provide some authority of approval that the work is recognized as robust and free of bias, relatively free of bias by experts in the field, it does not guarantee that something that is published cannot be found to be wrong in future. What it does, it demonstrates that the published work is relatively correct and free from any major errors or omissions at the time of review. But having said that, the idea of peer review is a really important one, and the one that has been a bedrock of science for the last many centuries.